12 countries that welcome black people like royalty. For just $1,000 a month in the US, $1,000 can't even cover rent. But in these 12 countries, black people are welcomed like royalty for just $1,000 per month. Here, you'll live like a king, enjoying fresh seafood, living near the beach, and being welcomed like family. This isn't a dream. It's the reality that's transforming the lives of thousands of black people who leave the US every year. And no, you don't need to be rich to live in these places. You just need to pick the right country. Number 5 will truly surprise you. So where's the first destination on this journey toward financial and personal freedom? Let's begin with a country that's inspiring thousands of black people around the world to return home. Ghana. Come home. For just $800 a month, freedom no longer needs permission. There is a place in this world where, the moment you step off the plane, the first person to smile at you doesn't ask where you're from. They gently say, "Welcome home." That's not just a polite greeting. It's a powerful feeling that's brought thousands of black people to tears upon arriving in Ghana, where your presence needs no explanation, where you're no longer a misplaced color in the social canvas. In Accra or Cape Coast, you're not stared at in the supermarket, not forced to lower your voice or hold back just to keep things peaceful. There, you get to be yourself, fully, openly, and accepted. Ayana, a woman from Philadelphia who has lived on 3 continents, shared, "I had no idea how much fear I was carrying until I came here. In Ghana, I no longer ask myself, does this place accept me? Every gaze already answered that. And the miracle is, you don't need to be wealthy to feel this way. With just $500 to $800 a month, you can rent a fully furnished apartment in Accra, near the beach or downtown. A traditional Ghanaian meal with jollof rice, grilled fish, and greens costs just $1 to $3, and local transportation, the Trotro minibus, runs between $0.50 and $2 per ride. According to 2024 Numbeo data, Ghana's average cost of living is up to 62% lower than the US, especially in essentials like food, housing, and basic health care. Since English is the official language, there's no need to start from scratch to fit in. If you're an online teacher, freelancer, or remote worker earning around $800 a month, you can live independently here without sacrificing quality of life. That's not all. Ghana launched the Year of Return campaign, a historic invitation from the Ghanaian government to the global African diaspora, especially African Americans, to return to their ancestral homeland, invest, live, and co-create a new legacy. The campaign attracted over 1 million black people from the US, Canada, the UK, France, and the Caribbean in just 1 year, according to the Ghana Tourism Authority. Of course, no place is perfect. Ghana still experiences power outages, patchy internet, or low water pressure in some areas. But the special thing is, instead of complaining or blaming, people support one another. The spirit of community and mutual care is what helps many black individuals feel healed, not just by the land, but by its people. If you've ever asked whether there's a place in this world that truly wants you here, then maybe Ghana isn't just an answer. It's an invitation to come home. And if Ghana is the first name on this list, which country do you think deserves the number 2 spot? Leave a comment below, because your suggestion might become someone else's next destination in their search for a true home. Brazil. Freedom in Afro-Bahia. Cost of living under $1,000. Salvador, the capital of Bahia in Brazil, isn't a place you come to explore. It's where you come to return to yourself. Here, you don't need to try to fit in because you already belong from the very first moment. With over 80% of the population identifying as Black or Afro-descendant, according to IBGE, Brazil's National Statistics Institute, Salvador is the largest Afro-Brazilian cultural center outside Africa. And it's not just reflected in history, it pulses through daily life. The sound of candomblé drums in alleyways, the spicy scent of acarajé on the sidewalk, or afternoons of capoeira soaring over the beach like the city's living soul. I was used to feeling like the odd one out. But here, I don't have to protect myself anymore. I'm part of this place, shared Jamal, a Black artist from New York. And truly, you don't have to sacrifice your finances to live with dignity in Salvador. Renting a quiet private apartment starts at just $400 to $600 per month. Numbio, 2024. A full local meal costs $2 to $3. With total monthly expenses of around $900 to $1,000, you can live freely and independently, with beachfront coffee, live music at night, and weekends that actually feel restful. Even if your Portuguese isn't great, the people of Salvador will listen patiently and help correct you, not with judgment, but with smiles and kindness. Getting around is easy. Buses, Uber, the 99 app, and affordable domestic flights make car ownership unnecessary in Brazil. With a remote income of $800 to $1,000 a month, you can live comfortably here. And if you plan to stay longer, Brazil now offers a digital nomad visa, allowing legal residency for up to 12 months with proof of stable foreign income, per Brazil's Ministry of Foreign Affairs 2022. Of course, Brazil isn't a utopia. Some outer neighborhoods of Salvador can still pose safety risks at night, so ask locals, pick safe areas, and stay alert. Also, while it's a Black cultural hub, Salvador still faces social inequality and class divides. But what's different is, here, you're not invisible. You're seen, acknowledged, and allowed to be fully yourself. So, what do you think? If there were a place where your skin color didn't put you on the defensive, but was simply a natural part of the city's landscape, wouldn't that place be worth calling home? If Brazil is on your radar, leave a comment on why, and if you're hesitant, share what's holding you back. Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs to find freedom and a true sense of belonging. Colombia. Low cost, full life, peace of mind. Colombia might not be the first country you think of when imagining a new life, but for many Black people from the U.S., this is where they felt they could finally breathe. From the vibrant streets of Cali, the dreamy shores of Cartagena, to the lush hills of Medellin, you won't be stared at for your skin color. Because here, you don't need to be accepted. You're already part of the picture from the start. Malik, an African-American from New Orleans, now living in Cali, once shared, "I used to think that feeling safe was a luxury. But here, I walk down the street and no one looks at me like I'm a threat. I don't have to tense up to defend myself. For the first time, I'm truly living." And I cried. As for the cost, Colombia is surprisingly affordable. Just $400, $600 a month for a private apartment. Delicious meals from $1 to $2. And your entire monthly living cost can stay under $1,000 with room to enjoy life. You don't need a car. With buses, Uber, or cheap domestic flights, you can explore the entire country. Even if your Spanish isn't perfect, Colombians are happy to talk with you and help correct your pronunciation with a smile, not judgment. And if you're working remotely, teaching online, designing, writing, or running a business, just $800 a month can qualify you for a long-term residence visa. No sponsorship or complicated paperwork required. Of course, Colombia has its flaws. But here, you don't have to shrink yourself to fit society. You just have to be you. And sometimes, that's the purest form of freedom someone who's been judged can ever find. If you could live a full life on less than $1,000 a month in a place where you're allowed to be yourself, would you be willing to try a new direction? Comment the country you're curious about next on this list, or share what would make you ready, or not yet ready, to step out of the U.S. Tanzania. Slow living, deep living for under $900 a month. Tanzania isn't just about Kilimanjaro or the Zanzibar beaches. For many black people from the West, this is a place where you can live without shrinking yourself or explaining who you are. In cities like Zanzibar, Arusha, or Dar es Salaam, living costs range from $500, $900 a month. Renting a private apartment near the beach runs $300 and $500, with healthy food and essential services being cheap. You can start the day with rooftop coffee, end it with a sunset over the Indian Ocean, all without financial stress. But the real beauty isn't just the scenery, it's the people. Tanzania is one of the friendliest African countries toward black foreigners. You're not seen as different, but often welcomed as if you've always belonged here. I was speaking clumsy English at a market in Arusha, and an old woman laughed and held my hand. "Karibu nyumbani," welcome home. I was speechless. Marcus, Detroit. English is widely spoken, especially in urban areas. Though Swahili is the official language, just a few greetings and thank yous go a long way in making genuine connections. Healthcare and transportation in rural areas and islands can be inconsistent, but in major cities, you have everything you need to live comfortably. Private clinics, international supermarkets, co-working spaces, and even a growing community of black expats. Tanzania and small notes. Power outages, low water pressure, and patchy internet may happen, especially in remote areas. Rural healthcare is limited, but in big cities like Zanzibar, Arusha, and Dar es Salaam, you'll still find the modern amenities you need. Plan ahead. Buy insurance, check visa rules carefully, and always stay ready to adapt. Freedom here is real, if you come with the right mindset. If Tanzania gives you the quiet peace of Africa, then the next country will surprise you with its closeness, just a nod away from the U.S. Not noisy, not strange, but warm and easy to live in. Welcome to Mexico. Mexico. Close, easy to live, hard to leave. Mexico may not be a hot destination for black people on the migration map, but maybe it should be. Because here, you can live a full, breathable life and nearly forget you ever had to brace yourself somewhere else. In places like Mérida, Guadalajara, or Puerto Vallarta, it's easy to find a private apartment for $400, $700 a month, sometimes with utilities included. Eating out costs just $4-6 a meal. And you'll be surprised to find that street food is cheap, but clean, tasty, and deeply local. Including electricity, water, internet, and transportation, living comfortably in Mexico only requires $800, $1,000 a month. And you still have time to enjoy life, instead of chasing it. Infrastructure in the major cities is fairly modern. Stable internet, developed delivery services, private hospitals that meet international standards at reasonable prices. You can work remotely, open a small shop, or simply teach English over Zoom. All easy to do in these lively expat communities. For black people, Mexico may not be a perfect paradise, but most locals are friendly, and you'll rarely face suspicious stares. At times, there may be unintentional behavior, more from ignorance than racism, something you can often counter through your strong presence. Mexico doesn't offer long-term visa waivers, So you'll need to research visas or temporary residency programs. Spanish isn't required, but learning a bit will help you live more deeply and be more respected. And remember, life here is so easy that leaving may be the hardest part. If for just $1,000 a month, you could live in a sunny place close to the US, modern enough and still connected to a community, would you be willing to pause your old rhythm and begin again? You've now seen 5 amazing destinations, from Ghana to Mexico. Let's continue, because the next countries may make you rethink your entire migration plan. Thailand. Light living on $1,000. Peace brings freedom. Not everyone who leaves the US is looking for glitz. Many just want a place to live simply, eat well, work quietly, and not have to brace themselves every day. For Black remote workers, Thailand is that place. In Chiang Mai, Bangkok, or peaceful towns like Pai or Krabi, you can rent a fully furnished apartment for $300 to $600 a month. A tasty meal, pad thai, green curry, crispy chicken rice, costs just $1,002. With $900, $1,000 a month, you don't just live well. You have time to feel every day. Learn meditation, browse the morning market, watch the sunset from a hillside. Thailand's infrastructure surprises many. Fast internet, high-quality private health care, ride-hailing, delivery, banking, all are easy, cheap, and efficient. If you freelance, teach online, or run a remote business, Thailand offers you a small empire you can manage from a riverside cafe. Friendly to Black people. Thailand doesn't have the Western history of racial discrimination, so you won't see strong suspicion or prejudice. Thai people are usually curious rather than biased, especially in areas less exposed to foreigners. You might get a few strange looks or hear innocent questions like, "Where are you from?" or "Are you an athlete?" But most of it stems from unfamiliarity, not ill intent. And the truth is, if you smile first, they always smile back. The more open you are, the closer they become. Many Black people who have lived long-term in Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and even small islands say they feel safe, respected, and able to live without being on guard. For the first time in years, I don't step outside feeling defensive. Here, I'm just a person, not a skin color I have to explain. Maya, Black writer living in Chiang Mai. A small note Thai tourist visas usually last 30 to 60 days. If you want to stay longer, you'll need to get used to border runs, exiting the country temporarily and re-entering. A bit of hassle, but worth it for a light, peaceful life free of burdens. Philippines. Easy to live, easy to love, for just $500 a month. No hype, no noise, but the Philippines is one of those places where you can live well, feel joy, and be yourself in your own skin. With $300 to $500 a month, you can rent a clean, small apartment near the beach or in the city. Food is extremely cheap. Just $1 is enough for a meal with meat, vegetables, and juice. And the best part is, you don't have to sacrifice your quality of life to save money. With less than $800 a month, you can live comfortably, relax, learn to dive, or simply sip coffee by the ocean in the early morning. English is the second language in the Philippines, and people use it everywhere, from restaurants and convenience stores to motorcycle taxi drivers. This helps you integrate quickly with no language barrier. And what about being Black? You'll be welcomed. Filipinos are friendly, humorous, and open-hearted. Yes, sometimes you'll hear someone jokingly call you Kobe or Obama, but that's more due to unfamiliarity than any prejudice. A smile and a few words can quickly turn curious looks into genuine warmth. However, the weather in the Philippines can be unpredictable. Typhoon season may cause disruptions, especially in coastal areas. But if you choose to live in major cities like Cebu, Dumaguete, or Davao, everything is stable enough for long-term living, from internet and healthcare to the expat community. Dominica. Rich culture, comfortable living for just $900 a month. If you've ever dreamed of living on a Caribbean shore where music, laughter, and spicy meals are always present, the Dominican Republic might be your answer. And the surprise? You don't need much money to start. A clean apartment near downtown or by the beach starts at $400, $600 a month. Dining at a local spot or family-owned eatery costs around $4–6 per meal. Including utilities and internet, you can easily live well and have extra with under $900 a month, while enjoying sunrise on white sand and the sound of waves before work. Afro-Caribbean culture here is vibrant. From bachata echoing through the streets, tightly braided hair, to how people call each other with heart, not just titles. You'll feel a sense of familiarity, whether you're from the US, Africa, or anywhere else. That said, let's be honest. Even though black people are common here, a mild form of colorism still exists, especially toward black foreigners. You might encounter puzzled looks or casually insensitive comments. But the truth is, the longer you stay, the more you smile, and the more you respect local culture, the more welcome you'll be. I was hesitant at first because I'd heard about colorism here, but then an old lady called me mijo, handed me a ripe mango, and said, "Every color needs sweet things to eat." I smiled for a whole week. Andre, living in Santo Domingo. One small note: Dominicans live slowly, very slowly. A 10 o'clock appointment might start at noon. Public services can be inconsistent, but if you can let go of that American urgency, you'll realize this is a rhythm made for those who know how to enjoy. Panama. Strong African roots, stable living for just $1,000 a month. Panama is one of the rare places in Central America where black people don't have to try to fit in. You already belong. In Panama City, just $500, $700 a month gets you a comfortable apartment near downtown, sometimes with a pool. If you choose outlying areas like Bocas del Toro or Colón, the cost is even lower. A full Caribbean-style meal costs around $4–6, and with under $1,000 a month, you can live well, work remotely, and enjoy a stress-free life. Afro-Caribbean culture is everywhere here, in music, art, politics, and daily life. Spanish is the main language, but English is also common in expat-friendly areas. Notably, Panama offers a visa policy friendly to retirees or remote workers. If you earn $1,000 a month from remote income, you can apply for long-term legal residency without needing to do constant visa runs. The climate is hot and humid, with heavy rain from May to November. But for many, that's a small price for a breathable, stable life with a community and a clear future. With just $1,000 a month, you don't just get to live by the blue sea. You get to live among a colorful, friendly community with legal clarity. So, if you're looking for a place that's both comfortable and long-term friendly, Ecuador. Simple, welcoming, and deeply rooted in black culture for just $800 a month. Ecuador isn't well known in the expat community, but for many remote working black individuals, it's an undiscovered gem. In cities like Esmeraldas, home to the country's largest and most vibrant Afro-Ecuadorian community, it's easy to find a private apartment for around $400 a month. Dining at local eateries is very affordable, just $3 for a full meal with rice, seafood, and fresh juice. With total living expenses under $800–900 a month, you can live simply without financial stress. Being black here isn't seen as rare. Black people are deeply connected to the culture, music, sports, and politics of Ecuador. You'll see yourself reflected in your neighbor's eyes, in street dances, and in music playing from the corner bakery. You don't need to introduce yourself to be seen. You're already part of the picture. Spanish is the primary language, and if you don't speak it, you may feel isolated at first, especially in areas with fewer tourists. However, if you're open to learning and connecting day by day, Ecuadorians will welcome you with patience and kindness. Life in Ecuador leans toward simplicity and tradition. You should be ready to live minimally. But if you value tight-knit communities, majestic nature, and an unhurried rhythm, this is a place that can nurture lasting peace. Malaysia. Luxury living on $1,000. Malaysia rarely appears on the list of destinations for black people leaving the US, but that's a missed opportunity. With $1,000 a month, you can not only live well, but live luxuriously. Upscale apartments in Kuala Lumpur start at just $500 to $600, often with pools, gyms, and 24/7 security. Each meal costs only 2 to 3, yet offers a culinary journey through Malay, Chinese, and Indian cuisine. And since English is widely spoken, you don't need to learn a new language to integrate. Drivers, shopkeepers, and neighbors are all ready to chat. Malaysia is multiracial at its core. And as a black person, you're not seen as an outsider. You're simply part of the whole. Sometimes you might catch a curious glance, but rarely with bias. As Sean, an American teacher living in Penang, once said, "I'm a guest, but not a stranger. I don't need to be on guard here." Of course, nothing is perfect. Long-term visas in Malaysia can be a hurdle if you're not prepared. Tourist visas are easy, but if you want to stay longer, you'll need to research programs like MM2H Malaysia My Second Home, or explore options for freelancers, entrepreneurs, or remote earners. It's not difficult, just requires initiative. Malaysia isn't just attractive because it's affordable, but because it allows you to live fully, authentically, without contorting yourself to fit into a foreign mold. Malaysia doesn't often show up on the radar of black people wanting to leave the US, and that's unfortunate. Few places in Asia offer such balance, modern but not cold, sophisticated yet approachable. And with just $1,000 a month, you can live not just comfortably, but with real dignity. Nicaragua. A slower, deeper, more rooted world for just $800 a month. Bluefields isn't a place to escape. It's a place to come home to. Here, being black isn't unfamiliar. It's foundational. People in Bluefields speak Creole with a Caribbean lilt, sharing a clear African cultural legacy, from coconut-seasoned grilled fish and traditional music to how they sit for hours on front porches just talking without hurry. You don't have to explain why you're here. You just need to show up and slow down. When it comes to cost, Bluefields is surprisingly gentle. A seaside apartment runs around $300 to $500 a month, and a fresh, flavorful meal costs just $2. You can live well on under $800 a month, with ocean breezes, a relaxed pace, and drums echoing every evening from the church down the street. Clarence, an African-American man from Jamaica, once said, "I planned to stay a few weeks, but then I heard the drums, smelled crab soup, and heard the laughter of the banana lady. I knew I didn't need to go anywhere else." Even though you'll live among people who look like you, remember, this is a small traditional community, and life follows rubber time. Appointments are flexible, everything is slow, but in return, you get true freedom, no deadlines, and no need to fight the natural rhythm of your life. Of course, Bluefields isn't perfect. Healthcare is still underdeveloped, and if you have chronic conditions or need serious care, you'll have to travel to Managua or another country. Also, Nicaragua's political landscape is complex, not necessarily dangerous, but but you should stay informed and avoid sensitive topics. We've just explored 12 countries that welcome black people like royalty on just $1,000 a month. From warm-hearted Ghana and vibrant Salvador to the peaceful beaches of the Philippines and the familiar corners of Mexico. Because somewhere in this world, there are still places where you don't have to shrink to fit. Places where, with just $1,000 a month, you can live well, live joyfully, live with dignity, and most of all, live truthfully. Have you ever been to one of these places, or are you dreaming of trying one someday? Leave a comment below. Your story might inspire someone who feels out of place. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future videos, where we'll keep exploring places that welcome people, regardless of skin color, status, or past. If you know someone who feels like they don't belong in their current country, share this video. You might not just be sharing information, but opening a whole new door for them. Because freedom isn't something you have to beg for. Freedom is something you have the right to choose. And these 12 countries are opening their arms, just waiting for you to step forward.